So I know you as Jade, the founder of Let's Talk About, parent support page on Facebook, which is like a vast directory. It's turned into this vast directory of help and support for parents.
It has, yeah.
And is massively popular. How many followers have you got?
Oh, I don't know. I've just had a few, like an influx of people actually the last couple of days. There's about 880 something. So I don't know what I'm good. If I reach 1,000, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Buy cake.
I don't know. Maybe like just eat cake live somewhere.
Yeah.
Make a video of it. I don't know what's gonna happen. But yeah, so I'm really excited about that. It started off as a really small thing, and it was me basically being a parent and looking for things to do in the community. And I was like, there just doesn't seem to be that kind of space where you can look for what's going on in the community, really.
Yeah.
You can look on like events on Facebook and stuff, because that's what I was doing. And I was like, why don't I just make like a parent support group and share them to that? And that's how it started.
Yeah, because everything is quite disjointed, isn't it?
Yes.
Although we say everything's out there.
It is out there.
And algorithms don't help, do they, as well? So if someone's putting on something that's particularly great or beneficial, their algorithms might just not match with yours, and so you don't get to see.
You don't see it.
So at least that way, if they're following you and what you're doing, then they get to see and hear all about it. But you do much more than that on that page. Do you want to tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so basically for me, I have done a lot of education to support families. I did a degree in psychology. I've worked in children's residential care. With again, learned to everything there. Like that was a great job. It felt more than a job. It was a very big experience. And I learned a lot there. So that was great. And then something really horrible happened, and someone that I used to know took their own life, and it just made me reevaluate like where can I offer support, and like, is residential care not too late, but what can I do earlier? I need to reach them like at like the day dot. I need to be there in the beginning instead of like towards the end. So I went and got my master's. I had a daughter at the time, so I should say this. I had a daughter at the time. She was about 1 year old. And I went and got my master's in family and child psychology in Chester. That was awesome. That was really cool. I really enjoyed that again. And then I worked as a family intervention worker for Cheshire West and Chester Council. Again, I loved that. I loved my job. I worked really, really hard to get there. And I was doing a lot of support and helping families and stuff. It was brilliant. And then I got unwell. So I got long COVID. It changed everything, like the fatigue, the memory loss, the dizziness. I now have a walking stick when I need a walking stick, because my balance has just gone. I used to fall over like all the time just because of it was a mixture of everything, and the fatigue, and it was just a mixture of everything. So I obviously had to leave work, and I needed something to do while I was off work, because I needed to sort of keep my cogs turning. I needed to do something.
Yeah.
So that's why I created the page. I was looking for things for me and my daughter to do, and then I was like, well, there needs to be a page that you can just go to with all these things on for families in particular. I remember reaching like 46 followers. I was like, oh, this is quite cool. Like, I didn't expect this to happen.
Yeah.
And also what I do on the page. So I haven't done it for a couple of months now because of everything at the moment, being very busy, but I will talk about a certain subject every 2 weeks. So I can look at potty training, I can look at sleep deprivation, how to help sort of improve children's sleep and what they can do, behaviours, consistency, routine, children's mental health, parental illness, and how to deal with being a parent while you're unwell. There's a lot of topics that are covered on there. But I genuinely, I'm so proud of the page, and it's gone from strength to strength, and I advertise loads on there. I signpost. So if you've got families looking for like, oh, I'm looking for a group to join, I'm a bit isolated. There's one this morning actually on social media, and I recommended the Mombies group because they're a great group in the community. I posted about my page saying that I had put things on here. There's a woman that I'm speaking to called Angela who runs the Dinky Droplets mindfulness for children and families. That's amazing. She's doing really cool. Yeah, she's doing really cool things.
Yeah.
So she's like going from strength to strength. So I just put a little post about it, and even then I had like a small like recognition of someone saying like, you know, you didn't need to do this, and like, thank you for doing it. Like, there's people like you in the community. I was like, it takes a minute, do you know what I mean? It doesn't take long to sort of do those recommendations, and it might make a huge difference to someone's day, especially if they're feeling isolated. And being a parent's hard work.
It is, and it is really isolating as well. And like you're saying, like, it's really interesting. You're saying you pick a topic every 2 weeks, because like we talk about community here, but when we talk about this like loneliness and isolation that you can have being a parent, there isn't someone that you can go to and kind of always that you can go to and say, oh, how do I do potty training, or I'm having a really bad time, or I feel really terrible. And I imagine, you worked a lot. You worked full time. You did a master's. That's like more than a full time job. So you're quite a full on person anyway. To really throw yourself into this. I do. How do you keep yourself well and make sure that you're not overworking? Because this happens a lot. So I want to just check in with you and just say, are you taking care of yourself, and how are you managing your time with this?
So I'm having a wobble at the moment.
Yeah.
I was very close to messaging you yesterday to cancel because I feel very overwhelmed with everything at the moment. I've spent all day being like, should I go? Should I not go? Honestly, this genuinely, like, I was so very unsure what to do, because I was like, in a podcast, I need to be like happy Jade and productive Jade. And at the moment, I'm feeling a bit like a blur Jade. Do you know what I mean? I'm a bit like, because there's loads going on. And it's not that I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, because I'm loving what I'm doing. But there's just been a few weeks of things just building up, little things just building up, and they've just reached a bit of a head this week when something happened sort of in my personal life, and I felt very undermined in the situation, and I hate that, and it just wound me up, and then I've been sort of angry since. And then I'm sort of like, do I need to take a step back from different things? So I'm sort of like reevaluating everything. But no, I'm very aware of my emotions. I know I'm very aware. I don't practice mindfulness, but I am very mindful, if that makes sense. But I know when to sort of take a minute. But I wanted to come today. I wanted to do this because I was like, this is such a great thing, and we'd organised it, and it was something that I wanted to do. And it'll probably help me feel better anyway, because I genuinely get a lot of my energy from being around others. Like, I'm such an extrovert. Like, if I'm left alone for too long, I sort of start to melt a bit. I just don't know what I'm doing. And like, look, COVID changed everything, because we had to learn how to be on our own, didn't we? We had to learn to like, actually, I can't go out and see friends and family. I need to learn how to manage on my own now. And obviously I had my husband and my daughter at home, but that's not the same thing. No. And I had to learn how to be me in my own space. And I quite like my own space now, actually. I quite enjoy it. Not always, though. Not always. So,
do you think that's because you are so busy and so social, so it's more of like a refuge now, when you can come back and you can step back and you can be like, I've done what I need to do. My extrovert, it's time to just sit in my introvert for 10 minutes. And
I watch, space. Silly shows on Netflix, and, I've got my own little coping mechanisms, do you know what I mean? So,
So what I'm hearing is essentially this page as well, like you said, you started it because you were looking for things to do, and that wasn't quite there.
Yeah.
But also, what I'm also hearing from you is that you put a lot out to the community, but also you may need that yourself, that you need a community for you to thrive. Like you were saying, you get your energy from others. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. And, when families do comment on different posts and stuff, and I'm so quick to be like, I fully get it. I understand, like, I have been there. I'm a mum. I've experienced a lot of different things, and like, if I can't relate, I can signpost to someone who can relate. Do you know what I mean? So, because we've done loads of topics on the page, and it is valuable. It is very valuable. And when I sort of see people sometimes in the community, and they're like, "Oh, are you Jade?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm in trouble." And I'm like, someone's using my name, and I'm like, "Oh no," and I'm like, "Oh yeah," and they're like, "Oh, you run that parent support page?" Because sometimes I'll do videos, and like so you can see my face, so people know sort of who I am, and I'll do videos, and I said, "Yeah, I run the page," and she's like, "Thank you." She said, "I've got so much from that page." She's like, "I'm like a backseat listener and looker, and she's not like on the forefront, but she was getting so much from it." And then I've had even sort of teachers at my daughter's school say they're on the page, they're getting a lot from it themselves, and they don't want to comment, but there's a lot of things like, because I want to say it is a very safe space, but I understand that Wrexham's a very small community as well, and everyone knows everyone, and I think if some parents are like reluctant to say I'm struggling with this, there is an anonymous way of doing it, so that's always something. But yeah, there's a lot of engagement on the page. Well, it's growing from strength to strength.
So for anyone who's listening to this and they want to be one of those anonymous people who ask you for help, how can they do that?
They just do it on Facebook. There's just like when you go to the comment section, you've got like your little profile picture. If you click on it, there's an arrow down and it says you can go anonymous. So there is a way of doing it, and if you want to join the page, it's just there. Let's talk about ... the parent support group Wrexham. Perfect. And that's what it's called.
And they could also message the page, is that right?
Yes, there's a group chat as well, and tell you who uses the group chat more, Nathan, it's dads.
Right.
Dads tend to use the group chat and looking for like dad things in the area, and that's coming up quite a lot at the moment, like, because dads, when they have their children, they want to go to different things in the community, but when you've got something like Mombies, which is all inclusive to all, but the name sort of suggests it's just for mums, dads don't feel sort of included. But there's, again, that dinky droplet I was saying about Mombies in itself, everything is very inclusive. There's loads going on. It's just, if you don't know about it, you don't know about it. So I'm trying to fill that gap.
And it's maybe about, like we're talking about dads specifically, it's maybe about them, getting together as a group of 3 or 4 and then going to these together as that small group as well would be really beneficial.
Yeah, and I tell you what I'm doing, I'm raising, we'll go on to this, but I'm supporting Advanced Brighter Futures and the Baton of Hope charity at the moment as well. And I've recently got involved with, speaking with Richie from Richie Walks and Talks, which is a male, it's a group for anyone to go along, and they just walk and talk about their mental health. But again, it's a good one for dads, and we are going to do a collaborative thing with this Baton of Hope thing, with a Father's Day walk where fathers and their children can dress up in fancy dress and go around like Bellevue, just raising money for charity. Like, just
a load of Batman dads.
You could do anything. Let them be Batman.
I might go take a look at that just out of interest.
Yeah, it's
Batman
very
dads walking around the park.
It's very early stages yet of being organised. But Richie from Richie Walks and Talks is very up for it. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to be a cool one.
Sounds really good. So tell us a little bit about the Baton of Hope and Advanced Brighter Futures.
Okay, so as I said, there was a young person that I knew that took their own life, and it made me reevaluate everything. And it's still something that, it's horrible. Do you know what I mean? It should never have happened, but obviously, unfortunately, it did. And I don't want to get all like doom gloomy, but suicide is rife in the community, and there needs to be more done on it. And basically, the Baton of Hope charity are the UK's leading suicide awareness and prevention charity. On the 4th of October this year, the baton from the Baton of Hope is coming to Wrexham, and it's going to be a huge event. It's going to start in Chirk. They have announced that it's going to go to Chirk Castle. They're looking at doing like a reenactment thing. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a whole day of it. They're going to transport it from Chirk to Wrexham Town Centre, walk around Wrexham Town Centre, finish off at the university, and this is all on the 4th of October. And you can apply to become a baton bearer. So you can apply if you've been affected by suicide, if you know someone, again, that's been affected by it, if you yourself are a suicide survivor, that's another one, so you can hold it for yourself and like your own strength that you've come to where you are today, sort of thing. It's going to be mint. It's going to be a brilliant event. And throughout this year, I'm going to be I'm leading the fundraising team, and we're looking at ways of fundraising and being in the community and raising money, raising awareness, just getting the word out there, reducing the stigma, reducing the taboo. Suicide, when people hear the word suicide, they're like, oh my God, we don't talk about that. Yeah. No, we need to talk about that because it is rife and there's too many happening. But there's a lot going on behind the scenes with this one. So I'm raising money for charity. I've got loads of events going on. One of the first main ones, and this is done through the Let's Talk About page, is on the 31st of May. I'm going to be in T-Palb. There's going to be a whole event. We're going to have stalls selling their own like handmade merchandise and stuff like that, and like their homemade businesses and stuff. but we're also going to have stalls of services in the area, and services that support family. So it's like my page, but in real life, because it's bringing everyone together. And I think it's so much easier. Like when I met you, I wanted to come and see you and like know your face. And, I think you've got to have those conversations face to face. I think you do. So much can be done online, I'm not saying, but there's nothing better than going up to someone, speaking to them, learning their story, learning what they do in the community, what they do to support people. And this is a perfect opportunity. If you've got families struggling with particular things, they can come along, see these services. We've got young carers there, for example. I'm getting in touch with, so we've got the parent champions. They're hopefully going to be there. Advanced Bright Futures, obviously the Baton of Hope charity is going to be there. There's going to be a few, so I am sort of trying to get the word out there, trying to get more people involved, and the more the merrier. It's going to be entertainment throughout the day. That's going to be cool. So that's the 31st of May. But there's loads coming up. I've got a band night going on. My brother plays snooker, and he's going to arrange like a snooker tournament with him and his mates. So that's another one where they can just raise money for charity. There's loads going on, the walk and stuff. I'm doing a Mother's Day raffle, and I'm announcing the prizes. I should announce the prizes this week, actually. I need to announce the prizes and be like, this is what's up for grabs. And they're going to pick a number between 1 and 100, pay £5 per number, but there's like 5 or 6 prizes up for grabs. And it's going to be announced on Mother's Day. So it's like a Mother's Day present. So exciting. Yeah, so it's like if you've got like for your own mum, for, you've got like an auntie that's like an amazing person, you've got a friend, anyone, there's loads of mums in the community. Let's shower them with gifts. Do you know what I mean?
Sounds really good.
That's that one.
If there's anybody listening and they're interested, maybe they can't attend one of the events, but they'd like to make a donation.
Yes.
How would they do that?
There is a Just Giving page at the moment. Again, I do everything on Facebook.
Yeah.
I should start doing things on Instagram, but I'm just not.
They're going to have to start paying you, Facebook.
I'm not. Maybe.
You have to be
maybe
the payroll.
Yeah, I'm going to have to ring someone up. But yeah, it's all online. There's a Just Giving page and you can donate. And yeah, it's just a great cause.
So hopefully we'll link to that Just Giving page at the bottom of this, and then people will be able to make a donation straight away.
Yeah.
But what we're saying is come in person, come to the event,
come and speak to us, come and have a chat, come and have a look around.
Or a shop.
This is it. And if you see someone, if you think, because young carers, they're fantastic. We have support from them because of me being unwell. My daughter accesses young carers, and they're just a great group. And I wanted to know that she's not alone in like having a parent that's unwell, because a lot of parents do struggle with disability, do struggle with illnesses. So it's like, there's a lot of support out there. And it doesn't have to be a parent that they are in a household with. It could be a sibling that's got autism or something. For example, they can still access young carers.
Carers. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
That's really great. Yeah. Thank you for that. And we can't not talk about Parent Champion. Tell me about your Parent Champion journey and what it is.
So I'm a parent champion for the Wrexham Family Information Service. I did an event, so I did a couple of events like this where I got all the services together, and this is before I became a parent champion. And I met Claire Hughes, she manages the parent champion team, and she works in the wellbeing, well, not the wellbeing hub, but in that building. It's all in that building where they're based, and she runs the outreach team for the Wrexham Family Information Service. And she was speaking to me basically, and she was like, well, do you know anything about the parent champion role? And I was like, no, I don't, and she sort of told me about it, and there was just a couple of events, and then I was like, I'm already doing it. Like, I was already being a parent champion, and you're probably a parent champion. We're all parent champions in our own way. Because if you speak to a parent and you said, oh, have you heard of this service? Or have you heard of this? That's what the role is. It's just signposting to services in the area that can support. And obviously to the Wrexham Family Information Service itself. So I've done that since October 23, and that's led me to loads of different opportunities again, all voluntary. I'm volunteering for Barnardo's. I'm on a parent panel for Barnardo's, and that's going from strength to strength. They're really interesting. Parents Connect Wales, I'm part of them. And again, it's just opportunities that's come about. But it's all online, it's all support, it's all, what can you do to help parents and the understanding of different things. And it's been really cool actually.
So
It's
again,
led me to a lot of
everything
things.
that you mentioned, we'll make sure that we include the links in, and obviously a link to your page as well. I'm actually just a little bit in awe. It's just, you know, like we talk about community leaders, and I've said to you, we would identify you as a community leader, 100%. And I just hope that you realise your value and your worth, but also, like you said, there are those moments where you just have to kind of breathe and say, I just need a moment, because burnout is real.
No, it is
definitely.
real. Of course, it's real. Yeah.
And you know, actually just reminding yourself to use, you know, the services and the resources in your wider community to support you as well.
Yeah.
So specifically for us, if you need us to pick up on anything or support you with anything at all, that's what we're here for. And we'd love to support you in what you're doing, and, you know, all the causes that you're supporting, because it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So even if you want to come in and sit in a workspace, do you want us to share something, or you know, anything that we've got?
There'll be a lot to share coming up, because there's going to be a lot of events.
Fantastic.
There's going to be loads of ways to do
all the way
that.
with that. So I've written down some quick fire questions.
Okay.
So this is quick fire Jade questions.
Okay. Pineapple pizza.
It's nothing fun like that. Stephen said to me, he said, Have you put in any like silly questions? And I was like, well, no, I'm quite a serious person.
Right.
Like, it's quite serious. But no, what does pineapple belong on pizza?
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree.
I like it.
It's dead tasty.
It adds a bit of extra flavour, a bit of extra. Yeah, no, I'm into it.
It's nice.
It's not my first choice, but I will eat it.
Yeah, it's good. Oh, any weird pregnancy cravings?
Fruit.
Well, it's very good.
It's just fruit. Honestly, it's the healthiest I've ever been in my life. I say healthiest. That's not necessarily true. I was very unwell being pregnant, but like weight wise, then I'll say it was the best I've ever been in shape, because all I ate was fruit. That's all I wanted, and popsicles, like ice cream, like ice lollies.
Oh yeah, I used to chew ice.
Yeah,
I went through a couple of pregnancies like that where I just chewing ice.
Yeah,
really strange.
It's just fruit, honestly. That's all I wanted, and I went off chocolate completely. Like anything chocolate was just too rich. And then once I got back into chocolate, I remember like having a craving of like what are they called, minstrels. And Tim had actually crushed loads of minstrels, warmed them up, and put them on some strawberries for me. It was lovely. It was the best thing.
Tim sounds like a bit.
He's
of a hero.
awesome. No, he is an absolute hero. Yeah.
Do you want to give him his moment? Is there anything? That
I don't know.
Him?
Tim Humphreys-Jones. Where do I start? Well, we've been together 15 years. I'm very lucky to have him. He's looked after me. He does look after me. When I'm very unwell, and he's pretty much, he's classed as my carer, I would say, with different things that I struggle with. But he's awesome. He started Voice Box in the community. They're a poetry event. That again has gone from strength to strength. It's run by Natasha Bolton now. In Rough Hands Tap, and that's another one. They're raising money in May, because May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so they're going to have a voice box dedicated to the Baton of Hope, and they're going to ask like poets in the community to write something in specific to do with either mental health, how they've been affected by suicide, if they have, and like just it's going to probably a dark night, but it'd have to be filled with happiness, because how would you get through it otherwise? But yeah, so that's another one they're raising money for. But no, Tim, he's really cool. He's awesome. He is a hero. He's my hero. He's awesome.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, he's a brilliant dad as well. He's a fantastic dad. He's very hands on. He's always doing. We're a good little family unit.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
cool.
good.
It
makes it all worthwhile.
It helps.
Yeah, it does. It does. So, but we went off topic there. So I'm going to ask you, what is your why for doing what you do? What is your why? What drives you? What's your motivator?
I've got to do it. I help people. I love helping people. Like when obviously at the moment, like I've said, I can't do it in a paid employment role. So what can I do? Yeah. So it's all about supporting people. It's all about helping people. I've been there. I've done that. I felt low. I've been a parent not knowing what to do. I think parents parenting's very difficult.
Yeah.
It is so difficult, and it's so isolating as well. And if you don't have friends and family around you, it's so hard. And even when you do have friends and family, like, they're not there when you need them at 3 o'clock in the morning when the baby's screaming and crying and you don't know what to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, so that's what I do. I do it for hope. I do it for just support in general. I want to reach people and explain, like, you're not alone in this, even though when you feel on your own, you're not. There's always going to be families there, people there, ready to talk, ready to engage, ready to be a friend. Do you know what I mean? So
I saw a video of you, and you were in when the Refillosaurus was in.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah.
And that was one of the things that really struck me, and I really liked how you just said that. You just said parenting's really hard.
It is. No one talks
about
it. No one talks about it.
It's dead hard.
It's given away.
And I was just like, I completely related to that.
It's given away like a oh my God, parenting's the best thing you could ever do. Yes, it is, but it is so bloody difficult. Like, it's not this. My daughter had eczema, and well, she still does have eczema, but from about 3 months old, she was. I can show you a photo in a bit. But her face was cracked, her head was cracked, she was weeping, she was red, she was just covered. And it was 5 o'clock one morning, and I was like, enough's enough. Like, I need to get her to the hospital. Like, I didn't know what to do. We were referred to dermatology. We've tried 1,000,001 creams. Some things work, some things don't. But I remember we went to a supermarket on the Wirral with family, and there was someone from a photo shopping industry type thing, from a camera, like a Max Spielman type thing, but it wasn't Max Spielman, but that kind of thing. And she came over and she was like, oh, do you want your picture? And I was having a difficult day that day. She's like, oh, do you want me to do your photo? I was like, no, I'm okay, thank you, we're okay. And she's like, oh, don't worry, I can. And she was a bit pushy. And she was like, oh, no, I can get rid of the baby's marks off her face, and, I can Photoshop that straight out. And I was like, no, it's okay, thank you. And I was like, no, we need to go. We were on our way out of the supermarket. And then I got out of the supermarket and I was like, did she honestly just offer to Photoshop my baby's face? And I was like, what? Why haven't I, what? How can she do that? Like, that was so wrong. And I was instantly like, I was made to feel like not that it was my fault, but that she wasn't this perfect, beautiful, bouncing baby. Because when you see babies, they are beautiful. Babies are beautiful. They are. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're these little human beings. They're awesome, and they're learning, and they're learning what's around them, and their little faces, and when they hold your finger, it's just cute. But she offered to Photoshop my baby, and I was like, oh my God, like, that's so wrong. Like, why haven't I just punched her in the face? Like, why am I just not going back and having it? But I just couldn't face it. And I went off, because I was breastfeeding as well. I went off dairy because I was thinking, what if it's dairy intolerance? I tried loads, and it wasn't what I expected it to be. And I will say this to anyone, I was educated up to my eyeballs to care for kids. I'd done so much education, so much experience. I remember the first day of being home, it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and she was screaming. We're all in bed, the three of us together, me, Tim and Willow, and she's screaming. I've done a nappy, I've burped her, I've fed her, I've cuddled her. Why is she still crying?
Yeah.
What now? What do I do now? And I was educated, do you know what I mean? So the why, I'll go back to the why, that's where it comes from. I was educated. I had a very, stable upbringing. I had a really, close family around me. And I felt for the families out there that didn't have that growing up. Either the children maybe that have been in care that haven't had that sort of parenting experience. What do they do? Because I did the 4 things that you're meant to do, and I'm still holding this baby who's crying. Yeah. What do I do? And we looked at each other and we were like, what have we done? Why would we do this? What made us want this. We were okay without a baby, but no, it's the best thing you could ever do, but it is definitely one of the hardest things. And actually, I know someone who's related, one of my best friends, her sister-in-law is pregnant at the moment, and they've said when they have the baby, they don't want anyone to go around for a little bit until they're ready. And I wish I'd have had that boundary, because when she was born on the Saturday, I was home the Saturday night. On the Sunday, I had everyone come round, and I cried so much at the end of that day because it was so overwhelming. Yeah. I was still healing from giving birth. And she's feeding off me. I've never breastfed before. I'm in pain. It's difficult. It's horrible. There's some things to being a parent, and it is isolating, and it is horrible. And until you've done it, you don't realise quite what you've got yourself in for. Yeah. And that's why I do it.
It's that saying, isn't it, that it takes a community to raise a child. Yeah. Essentially, that's what I'm trying to do. That's what's happening. That's what it is. That is the little community at the moment. That's what I'm. That's it. So I've got who inspires you as my next question.
Ugh, boo! I've got to give a horrible answer here. This is horrendous. Me.
Yeah. That's not a horrible answer. That's absolutely the best thing you can say.
Yeah, but I'm inspired by myself, because I give myself a minute and then I'm like, come on, get on with it now. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it's me. Obviously, my husband's a great support, and there's things in the community, and I'm inspired by them. But at the end of the day, when I'm doing posts on Facebook, or I'm looking at a new topic, or I'm engaging with someone, it's me that's doing that. So I've got to drive myself.
I love that. It's great.
I feel like it's a icky answer though.
No, it's not. So we always ask when we're doing community organising, especially when we're doing community organising training, we always say, tell me about a time that you felt powerful. So tell me about a time you felt your most powerful that you can remember.
I don't know.
It's difficult, isn't it?
Yes. What, like a most recent or the most powerful?
When have you felt most powerful your life?
When I had my daughter.
Yeah.
I'm holding her for the first time. It was like labour for me, I was very quick. Do you know what I mean? I was very lucky, but it was a bit too quick. But it'd be then, because I was holding her and I was in awe, and the love that I felt was overwhelming, and the emotion and everything that just happened. It was like I'd gone from. It is a horrible pain. Like my daughter at the moment, she wants to be a mum. She's 6, by the way. She's dying to be a mum. She asked me the other day, and she's like, "Mum, does it hurt when you give birth?" And I'm like, "Yes." And she's like, "Oh." And she's like, "Maybe I don't want to be a mum then." And I'm like, "Because it does hurt. It is it's probably the most painful thing you can do as a human, is give birth." And when I held her, this weird little alien covered in blood and stuff, just looking at these massive eyes, and I was just like, I've just done that.
Yeah.
And
it's funny. I did the community organising training, and that was my answer.
Right,
give a birth.
Yeah.
There's just something.
It's a very
so impact. So
yeah.
What's the word?
I don't even know how to explain any of it.
It's like so raw, isn't it? It's like really.
It's real.
It's really and you just feel so powerful as a woman.
Yeah.
Like we are.
And you've just done that, and it depends however way you give birth, whether you do it. Whichever way you give birth, we're not going into detail.
To grow a
baby, it's still so much.
Yeah.
There's so much behind that, because I know there's women that don't feel like they've been like a successful mum if they have a C-section. I've heard that quite a lot. I'm like, no. You've done it. Your body's done what it needed to do. You've grown a baby. You're responsible for that. Whether you need support or not on the way out, it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? You've still done that, and you should own that. And no, it was a very powerful moment actually. And we always me, Tim and Willow, and we were all just sort of looking at each other, and we're doing skin to skin, and she's breathing on me, and she was real. She was there, because I felt like my pregnancy was. I hated being pregnant. God,
I can't stand being pregnant.
I was so unwell. There was always bloody something. That doesn't. No one prepares you for that either.
No.
Because I thought you have a baby, you get pregnant, you have morning sickness, you have a baby. No. You have migraines. You have reduced movements. You have too many movements.
Oh yeah.
You have SPD. You have cravings. You have sickness. It doesn't just last in the
morning.
morning.
What about that insomnia?
It's all the time. Oh.
That, third trimester insomnia. And you're just lying there, just like that, wide awake. Why would our body do that to us when they know we're going to have sleep? I know there's practicing, but we need to be sleeping. Yeah.
And even when we had Willow, like, you know, because I was breastfeeding, she fed every hour and a half for 6 months, and there'd be mornings that my husband, because we did co-sleep, I always said I wouldn't do it. Doesn't matter. That's what we did, and I did it very safely, and I did it in my own way. Mm-hmm. But I had to, because it got to about 3 months in, I was falling asleep with her on me, and that's more unsafe than having her set up next to me where I could just whip a boob out, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Feed her. Yeah. But Tim would wake up the next morning and be like, oh, she had a good night's sleep last night, didn't she?
And you're like, no. I was feeding all night.
No, she didn't. I was thinking of ways of killing you when you were snoring in your sleep. But, you know, we're fine. This is where we're at now.
Just a marker, because we've talked about that. What we'll also link is we will link in the 7 steps to safe sleep, isn't there?
Oh, there's loads of different ways of doing it.
Or something like that.
There's loads of different ways to doing it. And I
set a marker and we'll. So if anyone's interested in because I'm pro co-sleeping.
Yeah, I wasn't until I lived it.
Yeah. So we'll just make sure if anyone's listening to us that they can get information and do that safely. So that's perfect.
That's cool. That sound,
So what do you like about where you live? What do you like about Wrexham?
I love the community. My daughter was away skiing on St David's Day. I'm Welsh. I'm very proud to be Welsh. I've done all my education in Welsh. I'm still fluent in Welsh because I dream in Welsh.
Oh,
so I've still got the language. And I went round town on St David's Day with some friends and then on my own, just to be a part of the parade. And I just walked around town in this parade and everyone was cheering and waving, and it was awesome. It was such a lovely feeling. And that's what we need. We need more like that. Like Wrexham, it's that thing that they say in the football, we're stronger together. And we are stronger together. When you've got a community that comes together, there's a lot that can be done and is done. So I genuinely love Wrexham. Everywhere's got its ups and downs, but it's home.
Yeah.
It's home. I'd never leave. I'm not one for, I love it. It's home.
Same. I left and came back.
Yeah, it's home.
And it's like doubled in my heart since I came back.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore it.
I've probably got a lot of admiration for Wrexham actually, and you know, I think, you know, the world that we're living in at the moment, it's a bit tough, I'm not saying, but when you've got a community like Wrexham that do come together when people are in need and stuff like that, it's admirable. It's lovely.
I totally get you. What do you think could be done better here?
In Wrexham?
Yeah.
Money, funding, but where's the money going to come from? There isn't anything.
So funding for what in particular?
I think there needs to be, like, the dads groups. So they're looking at dad groups at the moment and, like, you know, where can dads go and take their children? So even sort of stuff like that, like, could there be instead of a mom bees, like a dad bees or something, you know what I mean? But it doesn't go with the name, I'm not saying. But there are things, though, there are initiatives. There's one group that meet in Bradley, is a church in Bradley, and they meet every 4th Saturday, I think. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. And I think that's a free session as well, and that's inclusive of dads, of uncles, of grandparents, of male carers, and they do stuff in the community. There's a lot out there, but could there be more? Yes, there probably could be more, especially when it comes to mental health.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on in the world at the moment.
It's a real crisis.
And the mental health, I speak to families all the time. They've got children waiting for CAMHS. Yeah. But when you've waited for CAMHS, you may or may not get a diagnosis, and then you're discharged. Yeah. And it's looking at, like, okay, what support can be done then? And it relies heavily on the schools. But there's so many schools. There's so many children in a class. There's so many, you know, you've got to get the funding for one-to-one support. And it all comes down, I would say, to money. Yeah. I would say that. I think if there was more money, there could be more things done in the community. That's why, with this Baton of Hope charity, we're going off favours. We're going off because there's no money in it. There's no money at the moment. It needs to be built. That's what we're doing. We're building something new in that community. And there's no money to do it. So it's like, oh, well, what can you bring to the table?
Yeah.
What can you bring to the table? How can we do this together free of charge? Because it is at the moment all going off people volunteering, people offering that support for free. Not everyone wants to do that. And that's absolutely fine. That is, I absolutely respect that. That's up to them. But for people that can give something, even if it's 5 minutes at a time, to just share a post, do something like that, it's all working together.
Yeah.
But mental health, money, I don't know, the hospital, there's a lot of things that could change, but I don't know where to start, and I don't know how it's gonna change.
Yeah.
I don't know. Even the hospital car park. Do you know what I mean? They just need to build a multi-storey. If they raise it, there's a lot of spaces then, but you're going to have to close that car park to flatten it for however long to do it, to build it, and what's going to happen during that time. So no, there's loads of things that could be done, but we are still thriving as a community. There are still
there's
really
community spirit,
good initiatives.
It's a better investment in our mental health and healthcare services that need to happen. Third sector particularly are being absolutely drained. Yeah. So better investment. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you completely. Yeah. So very last question. So I'm going to ask you to give a bit of advice or inspiration to the next community leader that we have on our podcast. So what would you say or give to them as a source of inspiration and motivation to keep doing what they're doing, to keep going?
The world's bigger than you are. You've got to engage with it. It's more than you. There's more. It's bigger than you. I think you can start something. That's what I mean. This page, the Let's Talk About page, started off so small, and when I started to get followers, it was nice. It was lovely. I couldn't quite believe that it was working. And now I'm on like 800 and I think it's like 890. I'd have to check. There's a lot, but there has been an influx over the last few days. But you've just got to keep going. You've got to that page now is bigger than me. That's so much bigger than me. It started off with me being like, oh, why don't you try this as a parent? Do you know what I mean? But now it's grown. It's much bigger than I am. Yeah. But I need to keep being consistent. I need to keep offering that support, offering that but it's on my terms. I do it when I'm well enough to do it. If I'm having a bad day, I'm not going to post. If I'm having a good day, I'm going to schedule. I've scheduled enough posts to get me to the middle of April at the moment. So at the moment, I technically don't need to do anything with it. Yeah. But again, if I see something that comes up that I think that's amazing, I'm going to post about it. So everything's scheduled now to April. I saw a post either yesterday or this morning. It's all blurred, I don't know. And again, it was from that Richie Walks and Talks. And it was about men meeting up, I think it was like the 24th of April, for a free haircut and a free ice cream. And I'm like, I want a free haircut and ice cream. But they're doing it for dads in particular, to get them out, to get them engaging with other dads. And I posted that, reposted it, shared it straight away as soon as I saw it. Even though I've already scheduled a post for this, whatever it was, I don't know what it was, I'd have to check. But I was like, no, that needs to be out there as well. People need to know about that. Because if I schedule it to the middle of April, it only gives them a week to see it. Do you know what I mean? So if I can say now it's coming up. Same with arts and crafts fairs. There's loads coming up over Easter. There's loads, and I'm already sharing those because there's loads in the community happening again. That's what I mean. It's all about the community. It is all about the community, and I think there's a lot of people that are very invested in the community right now. And I think when you've got pages you've got the Wrexham notice board, you've got Wrexham Town Matters, you've got a few groups online where you can go to and you can ask for advice, you can ask for support, because people are there, people are ready to give it. There was a mum that had posted anonymously, obviously I don't know who she is, but she posted anonymously, I think it was today, saying her bills are covered but she's got no food in for her children. She's really struggling. She's like, I don't want any judgment. This isn't a scam. I'm not looking for money. I'm looking for food. And people have commented straight away being like, message me, I can sort this. and I can take you to the cupboard in Rossett to go and collect some items if you need bread, if you need fruit, if you need veg, we can go there, tin food, there's so much good in the community, but sometimes people are like, it's a scam, you shouldn't trust it. And no, actually sometimes there are scams, I'm not saying, but this is a mum that was just looking for food to feed her children. I don't know what situation she's in, but that's all she's after. But again, within the hour there were over 100 comments of people offering that support, offering to take her to go and get food, offering to give her money to take her to go and get food. There's so much good in the community. It needs to be highlighted.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Really, really great to chat with you and hear again about, what you do. And, if we have a round of applause and sound effect, like you totally need it.